Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
The most terrifying form of evil is that which lurks within the human mind. Asylum, the ultimate in horror.
This is an asylum for the incurably insane.
Asylum, filled with stark, raving terror. From Robert Bloch, author of Psycho. Asylum. The prison of madness, where few enter and none return. See, Asylum. You have nothing to lose but your mind.
Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Anthologies Attack, where we're taking a look at anthologies of every genre in media. Antonio Lepore is on assignment, but in his stead, we have a very special guest. Ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat because tonight's co-host is a horror anthology royalty, having written From a Whisper to a Scream, Tales from the Hood 1, 2, and 3, and American Nightmares. As a producer, he's cultivated young talent with films like Fear of Black Hat, Menace to Society, The Brothers, and my personal favorite, Love in a 45. And for the past quarter century, he's been at the helm of his own films, directing features like Caught Up, Deep Blue Sea, and most recently, Every Breath She Takes. And more importantly, back in the early 1990s, he helped me sneak into a fucking super cool party at Comic-Con while I was still underage. Sharing the Midnight View with me this week is Darin Scott. Welcome to Midnight Viewing, Darin.
Glad to be here. That was the best introduction I've ever had. I love it.
We like our guests to feel welcome here.
It was great. And I love the concept of your show talking about anthology. Me personally, I'm a horror anthology nut, particularly of the Asylum, of the Amicus horror movie of the late 60s and 70s. And the reason From a Whisper to a Scream and Tales from the Hood exist because of my obsession with those. And a lot of my contemporaries, or people maybe one generation down, they're in the Creep Show and Tales from the Dark Side. And you know what? I like those fine. But the British Amicus ones, to me, are special. I like them better. I put them in a class with Dead of Night, was kind of the granddaddy, as you know. And everything else, including my films, we're just trying to come up to the level that the thrill I felt watching those stories. I guess maybe one of the reasons I got so into them is because my favorite television show of all time is Twilight Zone.
The original,
And
original Twilight Zone, 59 to 63.
yes, and the original Twilight Zone. So when these horror anthologies came along, I was a horror fan, and they kind of had the feel of a Twilight Zone, of, the individual episodes do. So I'm just figuring out my own psychology why I love this genre. Maybe that has something.
Well, I mean, the reason we started the show to begin with was we wanted to take a look at Tales from the Crypt, the television series, and we covered that, and then we covered Twilight Zone 85, and now we're covering Tales from the Dark Side, actually. And I
used to watch those all the time. I was impressed by what they were doing with very low budget. So that's what impressed me.
Exceedingly low budgets. And when you look at what was going on at the time, because Amazing Stories was on, they were a contemporary.
Sure.
Those episodes cost $1 million each. Meanwhile, over at Tales from the Dark Side, they're like, anyone got any Scotch tape? And the Tales from the Dark Sides were so superior.
They were better. They didn't have, rubber wheels on the World War II plane, all that kind of goofy stuff I really wasn't into. But no, and when they brought Tales from the Crypt, I think the original movie is probably my favorite horror anthology.
The original Tales from the Crypt from 71.
The original Tales from the Crypt. I mean, it's story after story after story is good, ending with the fantastic blind man story. And great performance. The ending of that is just so awesome.
It's really jarring, the ending of that one. And I agree with you. That one it's like nothing but bangers. And they cram so many stories into what is essentially a 90-minute running time.
Yes. Yes. And all the stories are good. I mean, did you ever look at Santa the Same Again? And then later, we had all these Santa Claus horror movies. But you know what? The original was that episode. And that's what people saw and said, oh, we could make a whole feature out of that.
I watch that every year. The original, the Joan Collins Tales from the Crypt. Yes. It is so perfect. Like, I can't even describe it. And I think I've shown it to younger people who do not jibe with it because they find it a little bit hokey. And, as violent as the Amicus films were,
they're not gory.
Yeah, they're not gory at all. So like at the end of that segment, Father Christmas comes in to effectively strangle Joan Collins, but it's all very stagey and kind of, overblown, but it shouldn't matter. I know it doesn't matter to me. I probably didn't matter to you either because it was such a concept that.
Yes. Yeah. And she's a great villainess. And just that concept, she's trying to balance dealing with this murder and the kid, and she doesn't keep the balance together. And Mommy, look who I let in.
And her plan was so solid.
It was a solid plan.
All right. We're not here to talk Tales from the Crypt tonight, or it's potentially not superior, but almost an equal in Vault of Horror. Vault of Horror doesn't have as many good stories as.
Yes, but I like Vault of Horror. Let's go through them just real quick.
Yeah.
For the audience, if they don't know these films, so they can seek them out. Tales from the Crypt, masterpiece. Asylum, awesome. Dr. Terror's House of Horror, really cool. I don't know why they call it takes place on a train.
It's so weird.
It should have been like, the Train of Horror or something like that. I never could figure out. But anyway, it's good. From Beyond the Grave, which is a really underrated horror anthology.
And really hard to find, actually. Or, I mean, it might now be more. Yes. But I remember searching for that on VHS for fucking ever.
It was hard to find. Yeah, you're right. And I got it on DVD, and I think I have it in a Blu-ray format now. I got to go look again. But I love that one. And the creepiest thing in it is Donald Pleasance's daughter, because she looks so much like, and it's just freaking weird. And I'm not saying that she was an unattractive lady.
No.
But she looked like Donald. She was kind of cute, considering the fact that she looked like Donald Pleasance. I guess you'd call her the cute version. But she's really spooky in her episode, and that's a really good one. The House That Dripped Blood. I have a quick little background story on The House That Dripped Blood. I had always liked it, but I went and saw it at the American Cinematheque in Hollywood at the Egyptian Theater. This would have been around 2005, 2006. I went. And I'm watching it start, and the title comes up, House that Dripped Blood. And I said to myself, the hood that dripped blood. And I took it to some executives who I knew at Lionsgate, and they put it in development. So I actually wrote a horror anthology called The Hood That Dripped Blood. Came this close to making, but we didn't get it made. Changes in the executive suite, all the old stories that happened. So I sat on that script and I was like, boy, I like these episodes. I wish I got to make them. Well, sorry, Lionsgate, I hope they don't sue me. I don't think they care. Between American Horror Stories and Tales from the Hood 2 and 3, they have the stories from The Hood That Dripped Blood sprinkled in them. Each movie has one of the stories from it. So I've made all those stories.
I love it. I was gonna say, man, that's so sad. We're not gonna get to see that movie. We just in piecemeal.
Exactly. You can see it in piecemeal.
It's another
Vault of Horror is cool. The only one I don't like is Torture Garden. And I'm sorry, because I love Burgess Meredith. He's one of my favorite character actors of all time. He was awesome on the Twilight Zone. But Torture Garden,
What? No. Let's talk about this, because I agree with you. What is it about Torture Garden that we just can't get behind? You know what? For me, part of it is just the way it's shot. It feels too greasy.
Yeah, I could go along with that. And the stories just aren't that compelling. And the wraparound is weak. It's actually shocking below all the others for me. Because on any given day, I can easily watch any of the others and sit down and go, oh, yeah, let's watch Vault of Horror. Oh, let's watch Dr. Tiff. But you say, let's watch Torture Garden. And I'm like, I call that torture audience.
It's the one Amicus film that I struggled. I think it was a multiple night viewing for Torture Garden.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. It should be fucking off the charts because it's Burgess Meredith as our crypt keeper, and it's written by Robert Bloch. Is From Beyond the Grave. That's their last one. No, yeah.
Was that the last one they did, or was The House That Dripped Blood?
No, it's From Beyond the Grave, because then it's straight
From Beyond the Grave.
Straight films after that. A lot of the team would get back together to do Monster Club in 1980, but that is technically not an Amicus film.
Right. No, it's not an Amicus. Oh, I know we're supposed to get to Asylum.
I don't care.
I just have to
talk about, man. I love Amicus. I love talking Amicus.
I just have to share this hilarious story. I saw Max Rosenblum, who was the producer, along with Milton Subotsky, who was a writer-producer, at the American Cinematheque. I don't know how many years ago it was but Rosenberg was like 93, 94. He died a few years later, but he was still spry and he was still talking a gang of stuff. And he got up there after we showed it was one of the movies. It might have been The House of Dripped Blood. And he starts talking about this and talking about that and enjoying the fact, and I would love to enjoy this. When you get to 93, you can say anything you want. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? So we would get these older guys like Robert Wise or him or something who were like 90 or in their late 80s come, and they blast, you know. But the funniest one ever was Rosenblum started in on Christopher.
Okay.
Talking about what an asshole he was, how hard he was at work with, what a jerk, blah, blah, blah. And he went on this 3-minute rant of just saying all these terrible things, and everyone is stunned. We're just sitting there like this. And then he gets to the end, he smiles, and he says, I can't say enough bad things about him. Oh my God. I was like, all of this stuff had to be 50 years ago, and you're still ticked. He was
deck, right?
Great stuff. So, Asylum.
Yes.
Asylum holds the distinction for me. I think Tales from the Crypt is overall the best of the horror anthology. But the best wraparound I ever saw was Asylum. Now, there are some people who will kindly say to me that they love the wraparound and Tales from the Hood, which did turn out to be pretty darn good.
Pretty great.
But we're coming afterward, and I always defer to the original. And Asylum, that wraparound, when I saw it the first time, blew me away. Did not expect it. Did not expect it at all. Dr. Starr.
I agree. You know, I've always been of a mind that the wraparound segment for an anthology film is either the most important part or the least important.
Right.
if you're going to attempt to weave your wraparound into your story, into your film, into the framework, the fabric, you
Sure.
better be good, because
Yeah.
we, as an audience, we don't care how we're getting
No.
the spongy Twinkie is just to get that fucking cream in your mouth. So
Right.
it's just a delivery system. So,
Sure.
but I do agree with you. Of any anthology horror movie, Robert Bloch got it right.
He did.
Because even the other Amicus films are laughable.
They're very straightforward. Come into the vault. I'm John Gielgud, and I will tell you you're dead. You know, but they're very simple. They're atmospheric. I like them, but they're not as clever. Asylum, it's really clever.
Let me, for those of you who haven't seen it, we're probably going to be spoiling some shit, so you should probably go watch it. It's available on Amazon Prime right now. You can go watch it for free. Go watch it. We'll wait. We'll be here when you get back.
You should watch it.
But as a summary of the film, I'll give you this. This is actually from the British Film Institute. A young doctor applies for a job at an asylum and is challenged to guess which of several inmates is the former head of the institution who has now gone criminally insane, Dr. B. Starr. The doctor hears the strange stories of how these inmates came to be locked away before deciding who he thinks is Dr. Starr.
And he's very cocky that he can figure it out, too. They challenge him. Do you think you can figure out who he is? I know I can.
It's not even a question to this man.
It's not a question in him that he's going to be able to.
And okay, his entree into the asylum, the beginning of our wraparound segment, the hospital administrator effectively is Patrick McGee, who most folks will know as the writer from Clockwork Orange.
McGee is awesome.
And
why?
Yeah, and he's an Amicus stalwart. He
was.
So our young doctor, our prick of a doctor, he heads off to our first story. Basically, he goes upstairs. Patrick McGee, the hospital administrator. This is important. The hospital administrator is in a wheelchair. He cannot go upstairs. He doesn't know what's going on in the rest of his asylum. So our cocky young guy goes up and meets the orderly who is going to escort him around the hospital. And we're given our first story, which is Frozen Fear. This one reminded me a lot of the Vault of Horrors, about the fastidious man and his wife, but
dealing with pieces
and a bit of man. That was pretty.
So the husband is tired or wife is tired of the other. Goes for the gusto.
It's like the inverse of that Tales from the Crypt Christmas one. It's a golden husband who is tired of his wealthy wife, who has her under his or has him under her thumb. Also, she spent a lot of time in Africa and is studying voodoo. Maybe don't mess with your wife, sir. But he's got a mistress, and what do you think of this one overall?
I think it's pretty good. It's fun. It's that's the thing about Asylum. The stories are very solid, but the wraparound is so good that I don't remember all the stories that clearly all the time.
It's such a weird phenomenon, right?
Yeah. And it does have that similarity. It's not the most original, but it's fun. It's fun.
I think it's fun. It's a little weird in that we're dealing with a husband of this wealthy woman, and he chops her up into pieces. He's doing so because he has a mistress, and as soon as the deed is done, they're going to run away together. He has purchased a refrigerator, a freezer, these giant freezers that you would stack your meat in to stack the body of his wife. And then
he wrapped the pieces very well.
Very well. Oh my God.
I mean, clean with the brown paper was,
He'd be working at Macy's around Christmas time, this fella, which was weird because you can tell he spent so much time lovingly wrapping it. And then after the fact, he's hesitant to pick up the head. Like now it's a frightening object. It wasn't so frightening when it was bloody and gory and your wife's head in your hands while you were wrapping it. But anyway.
Maybe he was starting to get a premonition of what was going to happen.
Could be, yeah.
Maybe they're just dead pieces, right?
And you definitely want to throw your wife's bracelet in with the body parts when you go to leave it there. Oh, but my point is his mistress says, we're going to have to take that body with us. And his reaction isn't like, why did we buy the refrigerator? When did this happen?
Maybe she just wanted to make sure everything was cold so it wouldn't stink. They took it out.
Yeah,
I'm just making up uses.
I know, man, but they're like, one thing I did like is that they're running away because most of these, I'm going to kill my spouse tales end with them disposing of the body, which means it's no longer a murder case as far as the concerned. It's going to be a missing persons case, which is going to last years and years before they're finally declared dead. So if this is like an inheritance thing, that ain't ever going to work.
Well, wasn't there a thing though back then and in England and in the United? When did no fault divorce come?
Gee, I don't know. Was that around the?
Because there was a time when, I know definitely the 50s, and I think still in the 60s somewhat, where it wasn't no fault divorce. You had to have a reason. You had to basically, and if your spouse didn't want to give you it, then you had to sue them for divorce, prove that they cheated on you or something. People could be actually held locked in relationships. She won't give me a divorce. You watch old classic movies and you'll hear that plot line. She won't give me a divorce. And now that's so alien that we think. And yet, as I watch my obsession true crime documentary, people knock their spouses off
for nothing,
all kinds of crazy reasons, for nothing, for some money, just to avoid child support. I mean,
it's going to be slightly inconvenienced. You got to go.
You got to go. And they all hire some friend to do it, and they're surprised when they get caught. I'm like, you idiot.
You would be lucky in that scenario to have dead body parts come after you, right? I mean, it's just to avoid the sheer humiliation of how poor a criminal you are.
Exactly. It's embarrassing. But it's much more fun to have the supernatural bring justice.
Now, here's the thing. One other aspect of this movie and Bloch's script that I really admire is setting it in an asylum automatically makes every character an unreliable narrator. So this character, there might not have been any, I mean, their body parts, sure, because there was some.
The stories could be total BS. But if I remember correctly, a story, not that one, the one with where she has some scars. No, is that this episode?
Yeah, because it's the mistress telling the story, and she's had her back the whole time, and then she pulls her hair to reveal that that the body part hand was on her face, and then she used the axe.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm remembering, and that is what proves that the story that she told was. Because up till then, we're kind of thinking this is some crazy. You're just making me see that.
Well, all that proves is she hit herself in the face with an axe. It doesn't mean that there were body parts.
She could have.
Look, horror needs supernatural. I agree with you, but I do like that it can go either way.
It could go either way on that. Yeah, absolutely.
Going either way leads us to the Weird Tailor. Now, interestingly, this was originally published in Weird Tales magazine, The Weird Tailor.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I just like the coincidence of Weird Tales and Weird Tailor. And now, this is the tale of a struggling tailor, let's say. Business is not so great when he's approached by a distinguished gentleman in the form of Mr. Peter Cushing, who hires him to sew a suit for him made of a interesting material with a set of instructions that can only be described as an occult manifesto, where he can only sew this garment between the hours of midnight and dawn.
The actor who played the tailor,
Barry Morse.
Barry Morse. He usually plays the villain, the creepy guy, the one who's dangerous. So it's cool in this one that he's kind of like this, struggling, shy. He's the opposite of what you usually see that actor. And I think that's one of the strengths of it, because you have Cushing, but that guy usually is diabolical. I remember him, for instance, in this Twilight Zone episode, where this music is played. He's a really cruel bastard who mistreats his wife, mistreats who work for him. And he has a player piano, and they get this special music. And when this music plays, he tells and he exposes all of his weaknesses, his insecurities, and the fact that I'm only doing everything because I'm scared. But he's so evil in that. And then you see him in this, and he's kind of a timid character.
That was a piano in the house, by the way, was the name of that Twilight.
Yes. And he has a beautiful wife. Wait a second. Isn't his wife in that Twilight Zone episode?
Joan Hackett.
Is it Joan Hackett?
Joan Hackett.
Okay.
Oh, what was I?
The king of digression.
So that's fine. But what I wanted to say was what you're talking about with Barry Morse sort of playing against type here. I think that's also a strength of anthologies in general.
Yes.
So in television, because there's so many of them, but anthologies in general, because you can put somebody in there. Look, You know what? Like
In
everyone,
Tales from the Hood, we took a comedian, a comic actor, and turned him into a vicious wife beater.
that was David Allen Greer, right? That was
Yes.
yes, which
And
was
people were shocked.
absolutely. If you know what, I would say I would tell people go watch Creepshow if you're a big fan of Leslie Nielsen and what a fucking hilarious guy he is. Watch him,
Yeah.
brutal human being on earth.
Absolutely.
So here we've got.
I can hold my breath for a long time.
He's also he showed up in weirdly, given the Creepshow-ness of it all. There's an episode of Night Gallery with both Fritz Weaver and Leslie Nielsen. Oh, he was in Twilight Zone. He was in
a lot of Twilight Zone. Which Night Gallery?
It's called A Crime of Fear, where Leslie Nielsen is this mercenary who is bet that he cannot spend a night in a haunted house. But the haunted house has been rigged up to scare him to death by Fritz Weaver.
Is that the one with the slime?
No. Wait.
Okay. I'm getting them mixed up.
That is the slime one where they've injected him and he thinks he's going to turn into a slug.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
We are the kings of digression. Where the hell are we here? Peter Cushing wants a suit.
Well, we're going through the stories of Asylum, and I'm like, we can go through them, but I think we've told. Go see the damn movie.
It's pretty great.
Do we have to spoilerize the entire film to get,
No, but we can shout out other awesome things in the movie.
Yes, we can. So let's keep.
All right. So yeah, the Weird Tailor. You're right. Let's not spoil it. It's good. I don't think it's in here. It's exactly where it needs to be. The second spot. Interestingly, Robert Bloch stopped working for Amicus after this. He did not appreciate them swapping the story placement around. Originally, that first story was the last story.
He got mad about that.
And the last story was
Welcome to Hollywood, Robert. Don't you know they usually do much worse than switch the order of your story.
I honestly think
your whole story's apart.
I honestly think it was a thing about money, and he was just looking for the excuse, and he was like, "Fuck."
Must have been.
Finally, at the end,
we'll get Matheson, damn it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Chuck Beaumont on the horn. Our next story is Lucy Come Stay. Now, this one, I don't know who decided that they were going to put all of my fantasy women into one segment of a horror anthology and expect me to do anything but drool. But this one stars
right.
Rampling and Britt Eklund. Fuck you. Charlotte Rampling has just gotten out of the hospital, and her best friend Lucy shows up, and Lucy's a troublemaker.
Lucy's bad. Lucy's kind of like Karen Black, but I will give no other clue to those out there who haven't seen either.
Speaking of playing against type here, now at this moment in history, Britt Eklund, look, they're both sex symbols, Britt Eklund and Charlotte Rampling, right? But Britt Eklund was the nice girl next door sex symbol, and Charlotte Rampling was sort of the bad girl. And here they've kind of swapped roles.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Though Britt was pretty bad in Wicker Man.
Well, everyone was bad
on the wall.
I saw and I'm gonna say like 2010 maybe. They showed new art, so I drove specifically to see it, and I was
great.
I'm standing outside the theater, and I'm alone out there, except for this blonde standing 2 feet away from me, and it was fucking.
Oh my god,
man!
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to talk.
How tall is she? She's quite short.
Yeah, she's shorter than me. I'm 6'2". She was like 5'9".
That's still tall.
Yeah.
She's a stallion.
Yeah. Oh,
Britt Eklund was sexy.
And she's great here. I like naughty Britt Eklund.
Yes. And this one has a cool twist, which when I saw it the first time, I did not see. And like I said, we've seen it done in other things.
Do you think it's more telegraphed for modern audiences than you and I watching it on a TV in a fucking kitchen when we were 10?
I'm sure it must be. But on the other hand, will they? No. Using, in Trilogy of Terror, in that particular episode, it's the same actor. So it throws you off a little bit more having two different people play the alter. So I think this one will probably actually fool them more consistently than even, and I love Trilogy of Terror, but even than that ending episode of that they probably spot the same things and stuff in a million. But yeah, I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, I think
it might hold up.
Yeah, I think this one is superior to the Trilogy of Terror.
It is.
Similarity, yeah, okay.
It is. Trilogy of Terror
a little boring.
The zoo, the That's it. So I do a second episode where hypnotizes the guy, and
Me too, man. That I can't believe that was on national television. He's like having her fuck his friends and stuff, and
it was deadly. He was a monster, and I'll never forget. You drugged me. No, dear, I've killed you.
Yeah. In that wax cup.
Yes.
Man, that perspiring wax cup. All right, everybody, go once again. Watch the movie. We're going to the final
We
segment.
talk about these things in the hope that you'll hear it and go, "Oh, okay, I need to see that. I need to see that one," because people do need to see. So many people, even filmmakers, genre filmmakers, they don't want to go back and look at anything from the 20th century, and they definitely don't want to go back past the 80s. And
Anyone who
that's too
tells
bad.
me that they can't find anything to watch, I want to strangle.
There's too much to watch now. That's the issue.
Everything is available now. When we were kids, man, it was just like, here's your 3 channels. It's going to be pan and scan. We're going to jam commercials into it. You're never going to enjoy yourself, but we really enjoyed ourselves, and we wanted more and more and more, and we were denied. And now they got everything, and they don't care.
They have too much. They have too much, and that's why for me, I love the Universal horror movie. I got into film noir. I got into black and white. Fine. We had to, everything on. But first, we had a black and white television. But then, once we got color television, still all the old movies were in black and white. My father's favorite actor was Bogart, so we would watch all that. And now, younger people, the millennials down, they will not watch them. It could be the greatest movie. Oh, it's in black and white. I'm like, what? It's silent.
Right.
You've seen black and white before because every once in a while somebody's a modern in that. But boy, it's hard to get people to sit for, and that's a damn shame. In this particular case, they should see Dead of Night. Fantastic.
I worry that the TikTok generation won't sit still for Dead of Night.
No, they won't.
Well, they should, and you should be watching Asylum as well, you pricks.
But if they're listening to this podcast, there's a chance they can be. So that's why we're doing it.
That is true. You know what? I guess we should mention Herbert Lom here because he's fucking fantastic, and I always love seeing him. Mainly known comedically from those fucking Pink Panther movies, but the reason he's so famous is he's such a good dramatic actor, and
he always was.
He's got this like one scene basically here, and he's fucking captivating. Do you know what? When somebody says the words "The Dead Zone," the Stephen King movie, I think of Herbert Lom. He's in that movie for 2 seconds.
Herbert Lom's. Yeah, you're right. Everything there's a whole thing with people. They're constantly looking for the origin of story elements in a modern, and then they attack them because if they can figure out what an antecedent to what previous use of that story element is in another thing, that gives them something to rip it and say, oh, that's just X, not realizing that all the movies that they love, that they think are so original, they just don't know. They just don't know where that came, and most of the things that you see in modern sci-fi and horror, especially if it's twisty at all. I mean, The Sixth Sense is just a big Twilight Zone. I always keep coming back to it because when I need to because everything you see now is it's taken from 3 or 4 or 5 Twilight Zones and they just put it together. But you can find all those twists in an episode. That's why it's such a
Darin, we're going to wrap things up here, but I do have a very particular question for you now. A very very, very important question. What is your favorite Twilight Zone episode?
That would be impossible. There are so many that I adore, but I'll name a few that have been influential. Sometimes I don't have the titles memorized.
I'll help if I can.
I did it one time. I'm getting old. But one that it was influential on Tales from the Hood. I'm going to just name ones that had influence because I had a Twilight Zone festival. I invited all my friends. I said, I'm going to play my favorite. It went on for 36 hours because there were so many I was playing. I played half the freaking show. People were coming, going, leaving, coming back.
That is the greatest. If you do that again, call me.
I will. And it was fantastic. But I'll tell you one that was very influential was the one with Lee Marvin, Lee Van Cleef, where Lee Marvin goes up to the grave. He's been dared by this guy who's supposed to be hunting down. And everybody bets him that he won't have the nerve to go up to the hill at midnight because this guy, before he died, said, if this guy ever comes, but they hate each other. If he ever comes anywhere near my grave, I'm going to come and I'm going to grab him. And so nobody thinks Lee Marvin will have the guts to do it. Lee Marvin goes up there. He does it, plunges the knife into the ground to prove that he was there. And then as he starts to get up, we see him go, and he's yanked back down. And the next morning, they go up there and they find him. And what's so creepy about it is his sister, who has been taunting and telling them, you won't mess with it, etc. Lee Van Cleef has a theory. He says, it's clear what happened. He had this long coat on. He kneeled over the grave, plunged the knife into the grave, and didn't realize that he plunged it through his own coat. So when he got up to leave, he felt a tug, had a heart attack, died right there. He was already scared half to death. That killed him. And the sister says, oh, you think that's what happened? What direction was the wind blowing? Northeast, same as now. She stands over the grave. She takes this cloak that she has. She spreads it. We see that the wind is blowing the cloak away from, not toward. And it's such a creepy ending. A good Twilight Zone always sent a shiver up.
That is The Grave. That's the name of that episode. And that was actually James Best, not Lee Marvin in that one. Lee Marvin was in Steel.
Lee Marvin's James Best.
Oh, right.
Is also in this one. Lee Marvin is the tough guy, and James Best is the wimpy asshole who wants to bet him. And that really infuriates Lee Marvin because you're a scaredy cat. You're a coward, and you're betting me on my nerve. So anyway, how that relates to Tales from the Hood, that actually is supposed to be the end of the doll episode.
Really?
Yes. What was supposed to happen was the dolls chase him around, and then the next day they come in and they find him hung from the ceiling. And they said, well, it's clear. He killed him. So he climbed up on the table and did this. And we actually shot this. But the table's way over there. How did he get on top? And someone stands underneath him. And it was supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
And we finished it, but the studio said, this episode needs more of a punch at the instead of
a mystery,
just a kind of creepy mystery.
Yeah. So
they said, we'll give you another $150,000. You can go back and shoot the dolls eating. And that's what we did. And in a rare case, the studio was right.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with the ending.
That was a better ending. It was a better ending. They gave us the money to do it. Hey, anyway, we'll be here. We could be here for 6 hours if I start going through all of it. But that's one that had an impact on something. I mentioned that obviously everyone that Burgess Meredith we talked about before, they were all fans.
And had that tingle that you mentioned.
Yes. So his were great. The Jack Klugmans were great. I'm going by actors. The ones Jack Klugman were great.
Many
great episodes.
My favorite Twilight Zone episode of all time is The Howling.
That's awesome.
Charles.
That's awesome.
Talk about a spine-chilling thing where the fucking slow zoom in on that door with the little thing coming off at the end, and there's like a puff of smoke and a howl, and that's where we cut to black at the end. Fuck you, Rod Serling. I didn't sleep for weeks.
That's a creepy one, especially the transformation as he walks past the pillars is cleverly done because they didn't have computer effect, and it's cool. And you're like, and the old lady's gonna let him back.
Yeah, so good.
It's brutal. No, that's a great one. That's a great one. There's so many that's great. Have me on again sometime.
Yeah, we'll talk
about Twilight Zone, but we have to cut it into, sci-fi space one, horror, brother, because that's the only way that my love for the show is manageable, where I can say, okay, well, let's talk about those. Otherwise, I'm talking about 30, 40 different.
Well, I can super narrow the genre down for, make it super specific. Like it has to have this, then this, and this kind of an element. That'll be fun, actually. I'll come up with something for that. All right.
That sounds great.
Mr. Darin Scott, what have you got coming out? You got anything working on you want to let the people know about?
We're working actually on a TV series version of Tales from. So hopefully we're going to be able to get it off. We've got some great stories. So cross your fingers and you'll see Tales from the Hood live on.
Yeah,
and I will, just circling full back, the way that the wraparound works in Tales would not have existed if not for Asylum. Because connecting it to a story and finding out, my wraparound characters are characters from a story, blah, 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 blah. That's because of Asylum. Tie-in and everything. And of course, the Clarence Williams part of it, what could have been a nice part and incredibly.
He's real scary at the end, man. He's really scary. Clarence Williams could always be scary. Remember that movie Against the Wall? The Attica prison riot movie, the Frankenheimer thing?
Oh, yes.
Holy
He always just had this gravitas that makes him.
hot soup, motherfucker. He lives in my brain. That version of Clarence Williams, the unhinged version. Okay, let's. We'll digress forever here, sir. I'm gonna wrap.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Once again, thank you for joining us here at.
Thank you for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
It's entirely our pleasure, man. And stay in touch. We should do this again sometime.
I'm totally up for it. I had a good time. All right, I'll talk to you soon, man.
The audio commentary. It's a dying art form, but here at One Track Mind, I, your wonky yet affable host Ryan Luis Rodriguez, analyze film through the prism of these embryonic forms of podcasting, one audio commentary at a time. Masterpieces, crapster pieces, live action, animation, cult classics, films literally no one has ever heard of. No track is too small, and no track is too big. Join me and my guests from the entertainment world as we keep these features alive every other Tuesday. Hey, who else is going to discuss Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey one week and Citizen Kane the next? Us, that's who. Sure, you have to put up with my voice, but there's a certain give and take in this industry. That's One Track Mind, part of the Someone's Favorite Productions family and available wherever you get your podcasts.